The owner of the Burmese python tells me it could be tough to spot and that it will likely hide from humans. But just to give you an idea of how massive this thing is, I've got my friend Jordan here who's going to help me out here. From end to end, this Burmese python stretches 14 feet. So just like that, take a look at exactly how far that is. If you can see some of these branches, which were just snapped right off of their trees. And take a look at this massive tree, which was just ripped right out of the ground. You don't want to get into a cold car and drive down the road, so you get in, you fire it up, and then you head back inside while you wait for your heater to get going. It's convenient, but police want you to think twice about that, and here's why. Take a look. These are 10 police reports from just the last week. They represent cars that were stolen while they were running or warming up. For more than a month, Angela Robbins has been trying to get her daughter's car back from Mechanically Inclined, where she brought it for repairs. This week, though, when she came by to try and get the car, the doors were locked, the mechanic shop inside had been cleaned out, and her car was nowhere to be found.
We knew something was definitely wrong.
This 2005 Chrysler Sebring was a gift to Angela Robbins' daughter on her birthday after her last car broke down. When the new car had some problems, Robbins brought it to Mechanically Inclined, a shop that had done work for her in the past.
I said, we're going there. We can trust these people. Famous last words, huh?
This time, things were different.
These are all text messages between my daughter and him.
Robbins shared these texts with me from a phone number that is listed on Mechanically Inclined's Facebook page. A text from November 17th says, "Your car will be done tomorrow." On November 22nd, "He will have it finished today, no matter what." And another text from December 6th, "If I can finish it up this evening, it's yours in the afternoon tomorrow."
At this point in time, we'd just like to find out where the car is.
After trying to track down the owner of the mechanic shop all day, we ended up at this local body shop where the owner tells me his store manager thought he was doing a favor for the owner of Mechanically Inclined, who said he needed a place to store some cars while he moved his business to a new location, and that now Robbins' vehicle is behind this fence.
We've tried to contact him. Nobody's getting anywhere so far.
After hours of trying, we eventually reached the owner of Mechanically Inclined, Ted Franklin, by phone. He declined an on-camera interview, but said he agreed to vacate this location after disputes with his landlord, and it was an oversight not telling Robbins and her daughter their car had been moved.
It is considered a stolen car now.
Robbins called police this week and reported the Sebring as stolen.
If it's on a lot somewhere and we can figure out where it is, then we can just get it and take it someplace else and hopefully be able to get it repaired.
The owner of Mechanically Inclined tells me Robbins' car took so long because he kept finding new problems that needed to be repaired while he was working on the car. He tells me that car should be fixed and ready for pickup by Wednesday. After our first story aired, several people reached out saying their cars were in limbo at this shop while they waited for repairs. I talked to a former employee who says work that should have taken just a few days would often take weeks or even months to finish.
It'd be better if you weren't here.
Why is that?
Because I don't want to do this right now. I've got stuff to do.
Viewers have been reaching out, looking for their cars that Richard Franklin, who goes by Ted, was supposed to fix. What's been the holdup on the Sebring?
Parts have been holed up on the Sebring.
You texted in November and said all the parts were in.
Right. I've had more dances to do with this car than I'm willing to share with you right now.
Travis Harmon worked at Mechanically Inclined for a couple months.
Customers was coming up here every day asking about their car, and he still hasn't touched them or anything like that.
Harmon says when work did get done, it took longer than it should.
Intake gaskets, it should take maybe 2 hours at the most, and he's taking weeks at a time.
We showed you text messages from Mechanically Inclined to Angela Robbins and her daughter over the span of several weeks, promising their Chrysler Sebring was almost done. Harmon says that happened a lot.
They would text and say, hey, when can we come up and get our car? And he'll just keep saying, well, can you come up here tomorrow? And they'll come up here. He wouldn't be here.
So we set out to find Franklin, and did at a body shop where Franklin is working temporarily. The body shop manager says Franklin asked to store a few cars here for a week while he moved his shop to a new location. Well, a couple of weeks have gone by, and there's still at least 15 or 20 cars that Franklin brought here. Who do they belong to?
Various people.
And why do you have 30 cars that belong to various people in your possessions?
Why do you think an auto repair shop would have 30 cars in their possession?
Why are they not being returned fixed to the people?
Why do you think they're not being returned fixed yet?
2 civil court cases are currently pending against Mechanically Inclined. What's been going on with some of the other people who have also...
We're talking about one car right now.
No, I'm talking about several cars right now. This is not the first time.
Can you back the microphone away from my face, please?
When I talked to Franklin about Angela Robbins' Sebring, he told me it would be done last week. That didn't happen. When will that car be done, sir? Needing a radiator, water pump, and timing chain, Angela Robbins and her daughter got that Sebring back tonight after our story aired and after it was in Franklin's possession for 5 weeks. Reporting live from the east side, Graham Hunter.
And new tonight, a 10-year-old missing for hours after escaping from Paul I. Miller School this afternoon. Evaded staff, police, and his parents, but not our RTV6 cameras. Only on RTV6, the search for Jacale Carter ended when RTV6's Graham Hunter spotted that missing student.
Where we gonna find him, though, babe? Where we gonna find him? Michael Craig is terrified and emotional. Her 10-year-old son, Jacale Carter, went missing from school. Michael tells me he got into a dispute with another student and was sent to in-school suspension.
Not even 7 minutes later, I got a phone call that my son was missing out of the school.
When her husband, Maurice Trammell, showed up to the school around 3.
When I got here, wasn't nobody looking for him.
After the interview, Jacale's family left to continue their search, feeling like the school was no help. I left to talk to neighbors and get video of the school when I saw a kid running across the playground. Jacale! He took off again, across the playground, over a fence and across a field, but he quickly came back.
Are you filming?
Yes, sir. What's your name? Just as his parents showed up, this is the moment IPS police tracked him down and brought him back to his mom for an emotional reunion.
I want to thank both of y'all personally for staying on the scene. Seriously. Because if you weren't here, then he would have just been on his playground.
And why did he run?
They called Mommy, and then I ran out the door because I was scared.
Jacale's mom says he won't be running from the school again anytime soon.
Our kids will not return to this school.
The district released the following statement saying, in part, school administrators immediately called IPS police and joined in the search for the student. We are thankful the student is safely home with his family and commend our school staff and law enforcement for their diligence in locating him. The Miracle League is heading into its 10th season here in Newcastle. They work to take people with disabilities off the sidelines, out of the dugouts, and onto the baseball diamond. But they don't have everything they need here on the city-owned field, and now they're looking for a new home. It is the sounds of summer. The cheers and words of encouragement at Baker Park in Newcastle represent a vision realized.
One time we went to a game and she wasn't allowed to go play, and so I started thinking.
But 10 years ago, it was only a dream.
The whole reason is I have a daughter that has special needs.
Cindy Brooks is the director of the Miracle League of Newcastle, and she was looking for a way to get her daughter Hannah on the field, so she created a local chapter of the Miracle League.
We are a baseball league for children and adults with cognitive and physical disabilities.
There's nearly 140 people signed up to play on one of 2 city-owned fields this year, ranging in age from 3 to 74.
A lot of our players, they haven't had this opportunity. They're older, they didn't have those kind of programs when they were younger.
Stop playing the bat like a guitar.
Brooks wants the league to have a field of its own, but it won't be cheap.
It's a little close to $1 million to build that entire complex.
The fields the league currently plays on have no accessible bathrooms.
We call them blue rooms, porta potties.
Have there ever been any conversations about trying to put in accessible bathrooms out here at all?
Yeah, we're in process. We've been looking at that for 2 or 3 years.
Mayor Greg York says the city is discussing donating land to the Miracle League for its own fully accessible fields.
And our players will be able to, have that dignity and honor that they need when they're, just need to use the restroom.
Brooks is confident the community will come together to help build the field and help raise the $1 million.
That's my goal, is to be able to have all these parents who fought their whole lives for their children have a place for their own. The first game for the Miracle League is this Saturday. They still need volunteers to help out with the season. To find out how you can get involved, we went in there with this temperature gauge. Now, for comparison's sake, you can see it's about 10 degrees outside right now. It is a bit warmer inside, but as you'll see in this video that we captured while we were inside the mall, we used that gauge at a couple of different locations. It's one of the first things many of us do when we come home. You close the door, you take your keys, you set them right there on the counter. But did you miss it? I didn't lock the front door, and it's mistakes like that that could make it that much easier for crooks to get inside your home and grab your car keys that you left right by the door. We want to get right to some super fans that have been going wild and crazy here all game long. We've got Larry, Casey, and Corey here that are going to tell us their thoughts on the game. And it was getting kind of close there towards the end of the 4th quarter. LeBron and the Cavs started to make a comeback. What were you thinking as the game kind of got close there towards the end?
someone like LeBron, you're always a little bit nervous.
Graham Hunter and myself competed in Children's Fair Play's first ever Battle of the Media mechanical bull riding competition, and we won the team gold medal as well as the individual gold medal.
Now it's 6. People battling dangerously cold temperatures, and it's getting colder by the minute. And we're not out of the woods yet. We're on the roads. While main streets and interstates are fairly clear, some side roads are still a slick mess. What you need to watch out for tonight. But first, we need to begin with meteorologist Kyle Mounts on this Storm Team 6 alert day. Kyle, it's cold out there.
Yeah.
What are folks going to be dealing with out there tonight? Thanks, Kyle. Working for you tonight, we're tracking the road conditions you will be dealing with if you're planning to head out this evening. Check out our live view from the RTV6 live drive cam. We're taking you through a look of roads in the Butler-Tarkington neighborhoods in Indianapolis. As you can see, it is snow-covered and slick out there. Some side streets are going to look a lot like this. Make sure you slow down and give yourself plenty of extra time to stop. Here's what some main roads are looking like around town today. Clear for the most part. Main streets like Fall Creek Parkway and Keystone Avenue and the interstates have been cleared off and salted to prevent icing. Don't expect a plow or salt truck to come through your neighborhood, though. Public Works only gets to those neighborhood roads when we get 6 or more inches of snow. That didn't happen last night. Wherever you're driving tonight, be careful. As temperatures continue to fall, black ice and other slick spots could develop, especially on interstate bridges and ramps. Bottom line, if you're leaving home tonight, take it slow and give yourself extra time to get where you're going. Consider this. IMPD reports 33 injury accidents and 201 property damage incidents from midnight Friday morning until now. So take your time. Look at this crash that backed up traffic on the I-70 West ramp at the South Split earlier today. Indiana State Police say this was a single vehicle wreck with only minor injuries. It's not clear if weather or road conditions were a factor in this crash. Right now we have complete weather coverage, including today's forecast, the 7-day outlook, travel advisories, and when the roads around you will be cleared. That's all on the RTV6 app. Well, the extreme cold didn't stop some brave Hoosiers from getting out for some playtime in the snow. Check this out.
Graham, the game going into overtime in awful conditions.
Yeah, you kind of feel guilty this week complaining about the conditions we had here in Indy. It's nothing compared to what they were battling out there in Buffalo. Absolutely atrocious conditions. You could barely see the field from the press box. If you didn't see the game, take a look at your screen. Yeah, that's a little snow right there. You know what that means? Time to pound the rock, and boy, did these teams. The Colts only threw the ball 2 times.